The Big 12 regular season is wrapped up, and so today I'll be giving you guys my 2023 Big 12 tournament predictions as we look forward to the tournament which gets started this week. This is conference tournament week in college basketball, and we'll be predicting the Big 12 tournament top to bottom here today. Let's get started. Looking at the first round of action, we got West Virginia against Texas Tech, 8 versus 9 game here. Both teams towards the bottom of the Big 12. And in this matchup, I'm going with West Virginia. I just think the Mountaineers, the way they've been playing recently, I am more confident with them. They won their last 2 games, and that included a win over Kansas State, who is the number 3 seed in the Big 12, one of the top teams in the conference. So West Virginia, I do think they're playing better right now. I mean, if you look at Texas Tech on the other side, this is a team that's lost their last 3 games. And in general, this team is just very streaky. This is a team that goes on big winning streaks, and then they go on big losing streaks. And this team is definitely cold right now. So I got West Virginia winning this matchup. Next up, we got Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, rivalry matchup in the first round, number 7 versus number 10. I mean, you look at Oklahoma, this team is very much disappointed this season, but they finished out the season on a high note. The regular season beating TCU 74-60. And this team has won 2 of their last 3. So they're playing pretty well right now, and they have been competitive the last few games. But Oklahoma State on the other side, this team is coming off of a 5-game losing streak. This team just beat Texas Tech to finish out the regular season, but before that, this team was cold. They lost 5 straight, and so maybe this is the start of the rise for Oklahoma State, getting some momentum going with their win against Texas Tech to finish out. I mean, Texas Tech is one of the worst teams in the Big 12, so it's not a big win, but at least you got something going as we head into the postseason. And in this matchup, this one actually was really close, but I'm going to be going with Oklahoma State. I think with them winning their last game of the regular season against Texas Tech, they got something going now, and at least I think they beat Oklahoma. And Oklahoma State maybe still has maybe something to play for, maybe the NIT. We'll see what happens for Oklahoma State. But yeah, for right now, I got them in the quarterfinals and beating OU, as they do have something to play for. Then you got Baylor and Iowa State. This is a very interesting matchup, considering we literally just saw this matchup a few days ago, and Iowa State did win that game. Iowa State actually swept Baylor this season, and they won both games comfortably. So we head into the postseason, the Big 12 tournament, and Iowa State is the 5 seed, but Baylor hasn't really come close to beating Iowa State this season. But in this matchup, I'm going with the Bears. I think the Bears finally knock off Iowa State. And I mean, you look at that last game of the regular season there, I mean, it's very tough to beat a team in consecutive games, especially in college basketball. I mean, that's not easy to do. And so I think for Iowa State, it's going to be competitive. It's going to be close, but I think Baylor finds a way and they win this matchup. They learn from their mistakes, and they get it done. Then you got West Virginia and Kansas. Now, I'm not going against Kansas in this matchup. I just think the Jayhawks are too complete and too good of a team, too consistent. West Virginia, I think, puts up a fight here, but I just think Kansas is too good in the end, and they get it done. This team has been hot down the stretch, too. They lost to Texas to finish out the regular season, but before that, this team won 7 straight games. So this team is looking good as we head into the postseason. Then you got Oklahoma State and Texas. Once again, I mentioned that Oklahoma State and Oklahoma game could easily go either way, and no matter what happens, I got Texas winning in the quarterfinals. I got them moving on. I just think Texas is a good enough team to the point where I'm confident in this team to get it done in the quarterfinals, and I see them moving on. And you got Kansas State and TCU on the other side. This is an excellent matchup here. You got 2 teams who split the series this season. We saw Kansas State win the last matchup, and TCU won the first. And you got 2 teams that are fairly similar if you consider, I mean, both teams were kind of background teams in the Big 12 this season, but both teams have been excellent this season. I mean, they've kind of been overshadowed by Kansas and you could say Texas, but K-State and TCU are both dark horse contenders, especially once we get to the tournament. I can see both K-State and TCU going a ways. And TCU in this case, I've got them beating K-State here. I've got them moving on to the semifinals. This one's a tough one. It could easily go either way. Both teams are coming off of disappointing losses in the regular season to finish out the regular season, but both teams have been good down the stretch. But in the end, I'm going TCU here. Now for the semifinals, we got Baylor and Kansas, 1 versus 4 game here. Kansas is a team that I see definitely making runs in the postseason tournaments and in the Big 12 tournament. I got them in the championship. I got them beating Baylor here, and this one could definitely go either way as well. I see Baylor definitely keeping this game close, being very competitive. We did see Kansas beat Baylor not too long ago, 87-71, and that game was in Lawrence. And otherwise, I think Kansas, I think they win this matchup, even though it's definitely able to go either way. The Big 12 tournament's pretty tough to predict, despite being a smaller tournament. And then Texas and TCU on the other side, I'm going to go with Texas in this matchup. I think TCU is very much capable of winning this game as well, making another run for a Big 12 championship. But in the end, I like Texas. I just think they're the more consistent team here, and they definitely have got. I feel like it's just a good matchup for Texas, and in the end, they get the win. They proceed on to the championship game, and you also got to consider Texas did just lose to TCU by 2, literally a couple of games ago. So I think Texas comes into this matchup with confidence. They want to avenge that loss they had on the road towards the end of the regular season. They do exactly that, and they're in the championship against Kansas. And I got to go with Kansas to win the Big 12 tournament. This is a tournament where I could see 6-7 teams winning it. But in the end, I'm going with the 1 seed. I got to go with Kansas to win this one. I think the Jayhawks are once again Big 12 champions. I like how this team is and the way they've played down the stretch. Once again, Kansas is hot right now. This is a team that did lose to finish out the regular season, lost to Texas, speaking of which. But before that, this team won 7 straight. And they've looked really good down the stretch, and I think they bring that into the postseason. And this team is going to be a tough out in this tournament, but also March Madness. And so that said, let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this bracket, this tournament, everything. And I appreciate you guys watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.